Hey guys, AQG here, welcome to the channel, how you doing? I'm coming to you live moments after, well I'm not live, but I'm coming to you moments after the open beta test ended for Sonic Racing Crossworlds. That's right, if you've been living under a rock, they had an open beta this past weekend, at the time of this recording anyway. It lasted for 4 full days, in which anyone who can run the game, who has a device that can run the game or a console, could just download the game, like a portion of it, and play it, play the online, play some of like the solo stuff. And yeah, that just ended, and I wanted to post a video of what I thought, and because I don't know, I can't talk right now, I just finished, there's a million thoughts racing through my head. But I just wanted to talk about it, talk about what my thoughts were, and just overall what this experience was. So overall, what I thought of the beta was, or what my initial thoughts for this game, basically it is incredibly fun. Actually, that's the reason I didn't really make any videos or anything. Like midway through, like even on the first day on Friday, like 5 hours or so into the beta, I saw people like starting to post, like kind of trying to get on top of things ahead of the curve, and you know, people streaming the game and all that. I wasn't really streaming, I haven't streamed before, so I never tried that. But I didn't want to make a video. The best I did was just record some footage of like gameplay. I didn't want to make a video during the beta because I didn't want to take away any time from me playing the beta. That's how fun it was. This game is incredibly fun and incredibly addicting, guys. It also really helps that, again, this is a free open test, you know, anyone can you don't have to pay anything, you just can download this game and play it, which works wonders for setting up a friend group that can play this game. I got 2 of my friends, one of them already being a big Sonic fan who was gonna try it anyway, and another friend who really doesn't care too much about the franchise, but it was like a free game and our friends were playing, so yeah, I got some friends and we tried to dedicate as much time as possible to playing together, and let me tell you guys, it was so fun. The laughs, the ups, the downs, all arounds, you know, the game was so fun to play solo and with friends. With friends just amplified it, and I just wanted to like, you know, that's my overall thoughts, but let's just kind of break down a few like talking points here. So first things first, the foundation of the game. It's basically a Sonic racing game. You've seen them before. It's not too different from, you know, the previous Sonic kart racers, like Sonic Racing Racing, Transform, Team Sonic Racing, and this will be the 4th installment in that. So everything you expect from a traditional kart racer would be here. You know, it's a 12-man race. There's items, you drift, you know, there's different karts and different types and all that. Everything would be here, and everything you would think that is in like a Sonic game would be here. The items are like half wisps, half like the other items like the boxing gloves and all that, and the rockets that were in the previous games as well. So there's not too much new there. There are some new items and stuff. The trick system from Transformed is still here, and it functions fairly similarly. It's kind of different. I'll touch upon that later when I talk about mechanics a bit more. But yeah, it's basically the same foundation that you've played before. If you played Team Sonic Racing Transformed or the original Sonic All-Stars Racing, you kind of played this game to a certain extent. But obviously there's a lot like to talk about in terms of like the differences, because the foundation might be fairly similar and fairly safe in comparison, you know, when compared to the previous games. But this game, I think, does a lot, at least in the little bit that I've seen. It does a lot to stand out on its own 2 feet. So, for instance, the main gimmick of this game, the Crossworlds thing, how the game works, or how the race structure works, is that you guys pick a track and you race on that track for the 1st and 3rd laps. But during the 2nd lap, you get to, or whoever is in the lead, whoever's leading the pack, gets to pick between 1 or 2 options. 2 options. I think 1 track and 1 like random, which could be literally anything. Like I think they opened up 9 tracks that can show up for us to race in, like the 3 laps. And then I think on top of that, a 7 additional like interlude tracks that can show up. And by the way, this includes the 9 tracks or no, that's other separate from the 9 tracks that are base. So for example, Apitos from Sonic Unleashed is one of the initial tracks that you can select to race on. That can also appear as a cross-world, where, for example, if you are racing in the East Stadium track, which is like the, you know, the very first track, you can go to Apitos, which is one of the tracks that are like available as a full track. Or you can go to like Alaska, for example, or Dinosaur Jungle, one of the tracks that isn't available, it's just an interlude across world. But yeah, so basically it's one lap of the track that we started on, then one lap of the cross world, and then final lap is back on the original track we started on. And actually, I really love this structure. For one thing, it kind of gives like incentive for people to be leading the pack early on in the race, because, you know, especially after Mario Kart World, I hear a lot of people with like, oh, snaking is the best thing. I think the term is snaking, where you like hang out in the back, get the powerful items, because that is also a thing that you can do in this game. And just, you know, near the tail end of the race, you just, you know, smoke the rest of the competition with items they can't really counter, and you take first place or whatever else. Here, I like this system because it not only gives like incentive to take first place early on and drive well, but you kind of like have some, you know, manipulation of the race. You kind of, okay, so I'm playing this specific style, or I prefer the swimming controls or the flying controls or anything like that. So I can get to pick the track if I'm doing well, depending on like you know, what I would prefer. And, you know, it also adds a ton of variety. Like, something I liked about Transformed is that it added variety, as in, like, all the laps are different from each other. Like, one lap you'd be racing, and then on the ground, and another lap in a track, the floor would, you know, break apart, so you'd have to fly. And that was what gave that game its identity to me. This game kind of takes that and does it in a, honestly, better fashion, in my opinion, because now it's different every single time you play the track. It's not that you know the layout that, okay, the first lap I'm driving and the third lap I'm flying. No, there's the crossworld's always going to be something that you're going to have to react to on the fly, and depending on it's of course in your favor or not. And even the third lap like kind of has like some shortcuts that open up, and some the music like gets intense, and, you know, it's still not like the first lap. So this adds a ton of variety, and you're never playing the same race twice, basically. So I really love the crossworlds mechanic, which is like the main defining aspect of this game. Up next, the swimming and flying controls. So like Team Sonic Racing, I think, had this. It's been forever. No, I don't think it did. I think it was just pure driving. But Sonic and also Racing Transformed had you go in the water with a boat, like your cart would turn into a boat, and take the skies with like an aircraft. And this kind of brings it back. And honestly, I kind of like, at first it was kind of alien to me, because both of them work kind of differently than they did in Transform. So for one thing, the water works completely differently. I feel like for example, the main thing is that your drift is completely taken away from you, and what you get instead is like this charge jump, where you can hold it down and drift charge automatically, and then when you let it go, you're gonna jump, and depending on how like much you charged your drift gauge, you can jump higher, and there are ramps and stuff. And that's kind of like how you're meant to go in the water. But at first I thought that was kind of like abusable, where people just keep constantly jumping and all that. But keep in mind, they took away the ability to drift, so you have to keep in mind how you're gonna take away your, take your turns, and especially with all the competition and people bumping you around. So it ends up being a lot more strategic than you'd think it would be, and they put rings and stuff in the air, which you would want to grab in item boxes too. So, you'd want to time your jumps well, so that you know when you're charging your next thing. And yeah, I honestly really love the water controls. They are kind of my favorite between... I prefer driving over everything else, but then water. And last but not least is the flight. The flight is completely fine, because kind of awkward for me at first. First and foremost, you have the option to invert your controls, because it's inverted like regularly, like that doesn't make any sense. It's inverted off rip, like when you start the game. So up is down and down is up. You can switch that if you'd like. I kept it as is. And you can get to drift in the air, and you can drift anywhere you want. And it's kind of like unruly at first. You kind of like have to get used to it. So that's a thing. And unlike Transform, this is the one thing that I kind of wish was there, but I guess you can kind of understand why it isn't. And the trick system was mapped to the R stick in the in Sonic Racing Transform, and you can use that while you're in the air to, like, you know, shift where your positioning is, and that would help, you know, to position yourself wherever you want it to be. That isn't here anymore. You have to completely rely on the drift to navigate your way around. And at first I had the toughest time with that. I'd avoid any flying sections because of that. But eventually I got used to it, and it's completely fine. You get used to it, and there's a good healthy, you know, a healthy amount of flight, water, and, you know, just regular driving. So you're going to be performing all three, and you're going to get accustomed to it over time. So whilst you're, you know, on the land in the seas and flying through the skies, you're racing against 11 other participants who are also gunning for first place and trying to do whatever it takes to knock you out. And to help with this, there are a couple of things. Primarily, what has always been there to, like, you know, turn the tides and give these games like the flair they need, are the items. And the items in this game have been a debate ever since, like, I think the closed beta. I forgot to mention this in the beginning. I haven't played. There was a closed beta before. I have not played it. This was my first hands-on experience with the game, and I mentioned this before, but I tried to, you know, keep myself as distanced from the marketing as possible to not spoil myself, but I really did want to try this. And yeah, so the items, people have been talking about them. Some people feel like they're too busted. Some people feel like they're not. And at first, I gotta admit, I did feel like they were a bit overtuned, even though I've heard people saying they were kind of undertuned for this because people were complaining after the closed beta as well. But I'll be honest with you guys, the more I played the game and more I got to experience its mechanics, I think the tuning is as near perfect as it really can be, at least in my opinion. Because, okay, here's the thing. This is a 12-man race with items and drifting and all these different courses and all that. There's going to be an element of randomness to it. It's never going to be 100% skill. That's kind of the point, you know? Where you don't want people to jump in, they're not having too much fun, they keep getting their ass beat, and, you know, just like the fighting game approach where you just get good and that's about it. No, this is a party game, so to speak, partially a party game. So the items there has to be some variability to it, and I think that is there. Everyone can agree that that is there. So there are some very busted items, and since this is I think this is the first game that lets you hold up to 2 items at once, and in some cases you can hold even more than that. You know, it can be very hectic, and a lot of times you can win races, but just by, like, even if you're in the back, if the circumstances are right, and you have like 2 very busted items like the monster truck, the drill wisp, or the laser wisp, you can kind of just blaze your way through to the end and take victory from there. But I honestly, the reason I say that I find the item tuning to be near perfection is that isn't always the case, to be honest with you. Sometimes, depending on how the race is, if you're far back enough or far ahead enough, items really will not be playing a role into it. I've had races where I've kind of been like on the losing end and I'm like 12th or 10th place or whatever, and then I try my best in like lap 3, okay, get as many items as you can, position yourself, and try to, you know, steal first place. Try to rob them, basically. It just doesn't work. If they're far ahead enough of you, you're not gonna make it in time, and you're gonna end up like, I remember a lot of times I just like grab 8th or something, and I'd be surprised, like, 8th, wow, really, they broke up, you know. And by the way, this applies to even first, like when I'm first, or like I'm ahead, I'm in the lead, but like for example 3rd and 2nd kind of like hit each other with some items or something, or you know, you caught 2nd with some items, and for the first place person broke away, it would be near impossible to reach them if you didn't like try to get some items and, you know, try to get them from first place. And I've had races where I've broken away and I felt like I was racing alone, and I've had races where the guy in first, I was in 2nd, and I was just looking and looking, and the guy ahead of me I could just never see. It was like a guaranteed 2nd place at that point. So items are not the final, you know, they don't determine everything. They don't have the final say, especially when we take into account the gadget system. So another new aspect of this game is the gadget system, and this is like the big customization for you. Well, to be honest, let's touch upon this since I brought it up. Now, customization is back from Team Sonic Racing, and I think it's better than before, where now you race and you get tickets after you race and or engage with the game at all. I think you do get tickets when you do time trials, Grand Prix, all of that, and you can use those tickets to buy parts and you know, aesthetics basically for your vehicles. I didn't mention this before, but the Extreme Gears are back from Sonic Riders, and that has me so hyped, I cannot lie. So you have either the Extreme Gears or the regular carts, and everything has its own like type. They're split into like 5. There's speed, there's acceleration, there's handling, there's power, and there's boost. And by the way, the Extreme Gears are primarily, I think mainly focus on, they're the boost. So yeah, and characters are split into 4 types, at least as of the 18 characters or however many we've seen in the beta. Speed, acceleration, handling, and power, so everything except boost. And yeah, so basically you customize your carts by picking and choosing like the characters and the front and the back of the car. You can even put some like decals and aura and all that on there, and you can choose your horn. And all that is like the customization aspect. Part of it has to do with stats, but it's mainly like more aesthetic than anything else. And the main thing that you're going to be using to change up your playstyle and give yourself advantages is the gadget system, which basically allow perks. And they kind of teased this a while back, and I was looking at it like I was interested, but I didn't know the extent to which it would go. Here we kind of got our first real taste of how far it would go. Like for example, air tricks are back, and how they work. You can use gadgets to speed them up, or you can use gadgets to give you rings every time you do an air trick. You can use gadgets to, whenever you bump into someone, you take rings from them, or to help speed up the drifting, or to give you an extra drift gauge. You know, you can use gadgets to do so many things. Like, even some of them come in the form of like basic stat boosts. I think there were some that were like tuned to speed types or acceleration types or whatever, and those just boosted your stats and were kind of meant for like the speed vehicles or acceleration vehicles or what have you. You have some to increase the appearance of some specific items, like you have a gadget that specifically increases the chance for speed related items to show up, like Yakka Wisps and all that. Some for like offensive items and defensive items, and hazardous items like there are slimes and all that. So you can, there's so many different gadgets, and you can mix and match however you want, and there's so many different ways to engage with the game and see what your playstyle is, and you know how you want to build up to your speed. Do you want to be like more of like a mayhem type, you know, build where you just cause trouble all around you, like a power type? One of my friends loved that so much. Do you want to use the boost type with the Extreme Gears and rely on boosting constantly? They have low top speed, but they have good boost and handling, so you're faster than everyone, but you're more vulnerable to items. Do you want to have a build that makes you more resistant to items, but you know you don't have anything special going for you? You know, there's so much customization, and this is the other thing that makes me like feel like the items are balanced fairly well, because if you want to build around the items, you can, and you can make it so that you're not necessarily weak to an item, or you recover a lot quicker than anyone else. And by the way, another thing about the items that I want to bring up in relation to this, the item design is so thoughtful for this one. Like, a lot of things are you have more control over the race than you would first realize. Like, for example, the item design. The equivalent of the blue shell is a big King Boom Boo appearing and punching the guy in first place. And for one thing, most of the knockback, or like whenever you get hit, you don't slow down too much. Sometimes you do, like if you get crushed or something, you do take a while. But for the King Boom Boo, you don't slow too much. And at the same time, after he punches you, he makes these tidal waves appear that, like, there's like 4 of them after, or like tornadoes or water tornadoes appear behind that. And the goal of that is to catch more than just the guy in first place. So it's not like, oh, you're in first place, well, screw you, you're out of luck. But everyone else, yeah, whoever was in second, that's fine. Because how many times would you see it in Mario Kart where someone have a blue shell and second place would see that a blue shell is coming, so just break. Alright, let that guy get nuked, and then, okay, I'm on my way, you know? So they do that. And there's another item that is fairly similar, the anvil, which hits specifically first and second place, which is funny because I've had instances where third place took the win just because of that, and that was kind of hilarious. But yeah, they hit specifically first and second, so that doesn't do the same thing of the blue shell where like you're hitting this specific guy, you know. There's a lot of defensive items in this game, and they each serve their own purpose. There's the shield, which gives you a decent amount of invulnerability and can use to counter most obstacles. There's this tornado, which is fairly similar to the shield. I think it has less defensive capabilities, like it won't defend you against everything, but it does like have this AoE effect around you, so if you're close to someone you can just sneak like a potshot in there and hit them with the tornado. There's the Void Wisp, which can suck at items and suck rings and, you know, all of that. The boost items, you can a lot of items that can hit you come through portals, and if you have a yakker, you can boost right under it if you want to avoid that. Like the anvils, like I mentioned, come through portals, or like there's this slime that slows everyone down and you have to shake the analog stick to get out of it. You can boost out of that. You have so many defensive options. And another thing that you have is you see what people are holding in their hand. You see like the players holding the items, so you know what that guy has. And so many times that has affected my judgment, where I see the person in front of me. I have a rocket or you know, a green fist, the punching thing, the green shell, basically. I have that, but I see the guy in front of me. He has a defensive item on him, so I have to wait. And you know, there are items that make you drop the items that you have. So there's so much thoughtfulness put into the design of the items and the gadgets as well. And I just think you have so much control over the race, or a lot more control than you usually have in these types of games. And that just makes it so much fun. Like, yes, you're gonna run into those instances where you lose, and there was very little you could have done about it. You kind of get trolled, or the situation sets itself right so that the guy in last can like sneak a win. But that's gonna happen to you as well, where you're gonna rob people blind sometimes, and that's just the nature of the game, right? But there are so many other races where you're placing first, and with smart item management and smart driving and skill driving gets you the win. And that happened to me so much. Like near the tail end of the beta, every like maybe for example 10 races, there would be one of them where there's nothing I could do about it and I placed poorly. But for the rest, I'm placing in the tops, you know. I'm getting first, second, fourth or something if someone bumps me in the end, like, you know. So I think the balancing in this game and the design is beautiful. The gadget system is wonderful. The items have a lot of thoughtfulness put into them. The builds are amazing. I've been experimenting so much with it. There's just very little negative I have to say about this. That's all really I have to say about the gameplay itself. The only other thing is that I didn't touch upon is the trick system, which I mentioned I talked about early in the video. The trick system is very similar to what it was, but it's different in the sense of the risk-reward system was removed, and that's kind of like something that still irks me, to be honest with you. Like in Sonic and All-Stars Transformed and in Team Sonic Racing, you, like, every flick of the right analog stick does a flip in the direction you flicked it towards, right? And what that makes it so that you can charge up your boost, but if you get too greedy with it, you're gonna lose all that speed and kind of like as if you kind of wasted that. And that was the beautiful part of it. Like sometimes in some tracks I loved in Transformed where you just drop this little drop and you know it's just enough for one flip, and you flip and then you just like get the small boost and then you're drifting and the flow is intact, and the risk reward system makes it feel that good skill rewards, is very rewarded. Here it's virtually impossible to fail. I don't know if this has anything to do with the gadgets, with the air tricks and all that makes them go faster. I don't know, but whenever you're in the air, you just waggle the analog stick and you just flip around. It'll stop whenever you can't do any more tricks. You're never gonna fail. You're never gonna lose any speed because of it. So yeah, that's kind of annoying, but it's very nitpicky. Moving on to the track design. The tracks in this game are absolutely lovely. I love that we're number one, a good number of them seem to be based off of new locations, like the volcano one. I don't think that was anything we've gone to. That didn't seem like a flame core to me, or something like that. Rainbow Garden is another one, and there's like the mall and the museum. None of those seem like actual tracks, but other than that, there seems to be like the Dinosaur Jungle from Sonic and the Secret Rings. Like, what? There's 3 Sonic Unleashed stages so far, and Sonic Unleashed is like basically my favorite Sonic game, and that's great to see. If there's an Adabat in there, I don't think there will be. Please put Adabat in there. Adabat is amazing, guys. Just this on me. But yeah, the Dragon Road, Apatos, Alaska. You know, there's a lot of homages to like the 3D games now, and that's something I love to see. Like just stages that aren't used in general. You know, we've seen Green Hill, we've seen Chemical Plant, we've seen all that. We need new stuff. You know, like for example, Alaska was done in Team Sonic Racing, but this time they remixed it and made it so that the night version. And this is apparent in the music as well. The night version is the one that you see, and you see the Aurora Borealis, and it's beautiful, you know. And so I guess to wrap up the track design, there's nothing really negative I have to say about it. I'm not like an expert in analyzing it, but like my favorites were Sand Road, Water Palace, Mystic Jungle, and Metal Harbor. Those were like the ones I absolutely loved racing. That I would pick them every time. Yeah. Overall, 10 out of 10 tracks, amazing. I just want to see more, please. The overall presentation of the game, I love the art style of this game. Like, everything is so colorful and beautiful. This game looks absolutely stunning, man. I think it absolutely trumps Frontiers and how it tried to go for realism. I think it looks better than Mario Kart World. You know, I think this game looks beautiful, and honestly, part of it is like the nostalgia in me, seeing like the gears in HD, and like Sonic riding them and the gang riding the Extreme Gears, and Jet and the Babylon Rogues back in HD, and you can play it with a controller. It's not like Sonic Free Riders. That to me as well just looks beautiful, and you know, the gears also control well. People were thinking like they weren't control like kind of terribly or something. They don't, but I just wanted to throw that in there. They control just fine, like similar to the karts. And yeah, obviously it's not going to be like Riders, guys, like come on, really. But yeah, as for the music at first I, like everyone else, was kind of skeptical of, but I'll be honest, hearing some of the tracks, I think it's a lot better than people are giving credit for. Obviously it's not like Jun Tsunoi and like the whole rock thing, and T-Lopes isn't here as well from what I can tell by just listening to the tracks. I can't hear his like signature jazzy style. But the music, there's a lot of remixes that I actually kind of took me by surprise, especially considering that not all of them call back to their stages. Like for example, one that I really loved was Water Palace from Sonic Rush, but Water Palace doesn't call back to like the song from Sonic Rush. It's its own original composition, and it sounds beautiful, man. At first I thought it was just gonna be like the techno and you know, the synth, all that, like what dominated Forces and was kind of like present in Frontiers to a solid extent with like the cyberspace levels. It, you know, there's still room here for like some natural instrumentation to come through, and that is something that I appreciate. I loved the like I mentioned, Water Palace. Sand Road and Apatos I liked, especially since Sand Road already got a remix in what's it called, in Team Sonic Racing. So to see like a more like techno take on it isn't, you know, I don't mind it at all. Yeah, so the music overall, I think it's better. Even the main theme, like I don't know what's called, Sonic Racing, the main theme that you see when you boot up the game, that one it grew on me. I didn't care for it too much at first, but hearing it a bit, I like it. It's not like Crush 40 levels of awesome, but you know, I still like it. It sells the vibe well enough. So yeah, overall the presentation is very strong. Another big one here, the online capabilities. How does this game work online? And I am so glad to say that it works very well. Like, very well to the point where we did have like some issues and some crashes and whatnot. It happens, especially in a beta. I don't know how much more polished the final version will be, but for the most part, and when we were racing, we were, you know, there was no disconnect. There was barely any disconnections throughout the race. It was very, you know, infrequent. And usually it would happen because someone disconnected before the race started, like the host of the lobby or something. So then people would just be taken out after a while. But you know, the races wouldn't stutter or anything. That, you know, and by the way, I'm playing with people that have some people have like very poor internet connections, and we can't play other games. So the fact that this game could handle it, it's, you know, the online is stellar, man. It's very good. It doesn't take too long to get in a game too. It doesn't take too long for a lobby to get set up, and you just pick a map and you're in there, right? So online overall, very strong. I can see why they were very confident with this beta test and wanted people to try it out for themselves. Speaking of someone that came from the, from the FGC, and sometimes you'd buy a game, but the game is already dead. The fighting game community, like I tried Blaze Blue, I tried some Guilty Gear games, but the games didn't have much of a community anymore because their time has passed, or they didn't really manage to, they had the Team Sonic Racing effect on them where the online just didn't work or isn't optimal. That can kill a game, especially a racing or fighting game or something like this. So to see the online as strong as it is, top tier. And yeah, that kind of covers most of everything that I wanted to cover really in this game. Talked about the gameplay, the mechanics of the game. I guess anything like else to mention is the voice. I love the writing in this game. Actually, something I didn't mention is you have a Grand Prix mode that I played like a total of like once, and then maybe another time to record footage for it, where you just play a Grand Prix, and this has like an interesting thing of like rivals, where whatever character you pick, the game's gonna have like an AI rival for you, and they're gonna have banter back and forth. And that's very interesting because there's dialogue for every single duo so far. And I think that's the reason why the DLC characters like Pac-Man and Minecraft Steven, though they're not gonna be voiced from what I'm hearing, partially because of that, from what I heard is to be believed, is that, like, for example, if you pick Sonic and then your rival is Amy, or you pick Tails and your rival is Jet, every single character has two interactions depending on who you pick and who's the rival. So for example, if you pick Tails and your rival is Jet, the dialogue is going to be different if you pick Jet and your rival is Tails, So they have two interactions per character for every character. And I imagine this includes everyone else that's to come, like the Chaotix are coming, Silver and Blaze, Sage is coming, Metal Sonic. There's going to be so many characters and so many interactions in this game. And so far from what I've seen, the writing, like I actually sat down and watched a full YouTube video of all the characters that were in the beta and all their interactions. And I loved it, man. There was a lot. And I've seen a lot of like hype and talk about it in the community. And it's just great to see. It's great to see. The voice work is great all around. Even like the Babylon Rogues who have returned like ever since Free Riders, their voices I'm still not fully used to, especially Jet. But he grew on me over time, so it's, it's not that bad at all. Yeah, that's another point to the presentation I forgot to mention, the voice work, it's great. And the solo stuff, you can do Grand Prix, you can do, well, there's one Grand Prix available that you can do. And the courses even have red rings. You can collect them for more tickets. And you can do time trial, which also gives you tickets, so that's pretty neat. And yeah, that basically covers all I have to say on the game, really. There's nothing else that really comes to mind. This last segment here before I close it off is just going to be what I'm partially fearful of that might happen in the game, and whether I'm actually sold on pre-ordering or not, because I'm still up in the air. But some things that I am fearful of, for one, the online in of itself, how long it'll survive, like the player base after it releases. Like, the beta's free, obviously. This game is not cheap. $70 base, $90 if you want everything. Full price. I know you can compare it to Mario Kart's 80, and especially since the Switch 2 is a new console, so, you're shelling out a lot more if you want to play the competition. But still, as of like a main game that you're trying to sell people on, and especially Sonic Racing isn't a household name like Mario Kart. So my fear is just that when the game does drop, we kind of see like things fall off. And I imagine that's why they're trying to like have SpongeBob and all of them join Hatsune Miku, Joker, I don't know. Try to pull as many as you can from, especially like the kids, who are gonna nag their parents because, oh, SpongeBob's in the game. Oh, it's Minecraft. We have to get Minecraft. Pac-Man. I don't know who's a fan of Pac-Man, but I hear like Avatar and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are coming. This game's gonna be big, guys, and I think that's in anticipation for like maintaining a strong player base, and that's why they're probably planning out content like live service style after the game drops. So I'm still a bit fearful. We'll see how the game fares when it does drop, but the online itself is pretty good. And even like when there's few players, it does sprinkle in bots, and it's not very obvious. Like, you can tell after a while, but it's not very obvious that it does at first. So it's a clean experience. It's pretty good. So, but that's one fear. I figured I'd mention it. Let me know what you think. Another thing I'm kind of scared of, well, it's more accurate to say I am kind of hopeful that it is here, is, you know, custom rooms. Like, obviously, I know there's like this race park and other game modes that we haven't seen yet. But yeah, as many game modes as possible and as much customization options for the player. Like, for example, if it's like a custom room or something, let people have the option to queue without items or something, you know, or queue like a race for only 2 people if they want to, like, no items and we just want to race the track, see who's actually better or something like that. Take out the luck as much as they can. You know, pick specific items. You know, customization options is what I'm saying. I hope that's in the game. I hope there's a story mode or something equivalent to it. I don't know if there will be. I don't know any other game modes. But yeah, that's really all I can think of in terms of things that I'd like to see in the game. And yeah, I feel like I've rambled on for a lot, but I just wanted to cover it. I love the, by the way, I didn't mention this in the online, but the ranking system, that also kept me coming back a lot. Something I love. Just wanted to show off a bit here my my final rank. I kind of cracked the top 400. I didn't record, like I did record it, but the thing got unplugged, so I didn't get my final thing, but I tried to get my rank as high as possible. I did get legend. I kept going after it, and you know, I was proud. It was a good thing. The Joker Festival, I didn't mention that, but that was very fun. I keep remembering things I didn't mention. Oh my god! But no, that was pretty fun, and that also like had some like a battle pass system to it. Makes me wonder if that'll be similar things for the game. I imagine there will be. And yeah, I just wanted to show that off in the end there. I've had a lot of fun with this one, guys. I am very optimistic about it. I'm just happy to see them like put their best foot forward and just demonstrate a confident display. Like, we're not here to mess around. We're here to make big money, and we have the tech and the foundation to prove it, and the variety and the fun to keep you coming back. I am overjoyed to see this beta end the way it did, and honestly, as far as like if I'm gonna buy it or not, I know that 70 is a bit much, but I'm probably gonna buy it. It's easier for me to buy a game, like swallow the bitter pill at first, like 70, 90 or whatever, how much it's gonna be, and just, you know, I have the full game and access to everything, as opposed to like play a live service game which is free to play, but then kind of like nickel and dime you as you go on. So I'm probably gonna buy it. I'm still like thinking, just weighing my options as much as I can, but what I've seen here, I've seen very little to dissuade me from it, aside from the price point itself, which is like a one and done thing. So yeah, this game is phenomenal. I hope that every project has like the confidence that this one had, and just not just the confidence, but the you know, backing up their talk. Like, yeah, we're the big thing, and then here's an open beta. Look at this, man, and see all the positive feedback and the content and the comments. I'm really happy. We're living in a truly new era, and it's beautiful to see, man. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble. If you made it this far, if you like what you've seen, like, comment, subscribe, do all that, and thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, man.